Welcome everyone to our newest episode of Level Up with a special friend. Can't wait to introduce you. Extra special thank you to Cressa as our sponsor. And it's Friday, guys, so let's start doing what we came to do. We are going to be introducing Sawtelle Sake and
Are we
Mr.
doing
Jon Rugg. Yeah, let's do it.
Well,
let's figure it out.
Good start to a Friday afternoon.
Cheers. That was nice.
Awesome.
All right, so let's try to establish some timelines here. I've known you for a couple years, no idea how many.
More than a couple, yeah. It's been a
Okay,
while.
yeah. Doing spin class, trying to get our bikini body in shape with Tyler. And very quickly, let's see, maybe 5 years ago. Since then, obviously through pandemic and all this crazy stuff, you got married, had a baby, moved, bought a new house.
Yep.
And in between all that, started another business, which was not your day job.
Yeah.
How did this happen? How did it go? And what's going on?
It's been a busy year, a couple years, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, pandemic, lockdown, changed things up, but it also created a lot of opportunities and time as well. And yeah, I've been a little too busy the last couple of years, but this project, like Sawtelle Sake,
How did it come up? You just one day.
So do you remember when I was doing a poke business like 5 or 6 years ago?
Yes.
So I had started doing this crazy poke business, but all the while, one of my good buddies, who's now my business partner and co-founder, Troy, had been homebrewing sake. And so along the way, I was like, how do you make poke more, how do I differentiate that? Like, we have a really premium product. And I was like, I want to do like beer, wine, and sake. Troy, would you want to make like our house sake? And he was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. Like, that sounds super cool. Like, let's do it. And over time, as poke kept like exploding across the country and more places were opening, all of our advisors are like, you guys should just start a sake brewery. Like, that's a way better idea than the poke business ever was. And so we kind of paused. And we're like, that is a good idea. But Troy had another job. He had a really good job. He was.
So did you? So do you?
He was, doing his own thing, and then, finally, kind of, enough people told us that sake was a good, crazy idea to try to do that. He like pulled the trigger, quit his job a little over 2 years ago. We raised some money.
Entrepreneurial spirit.
And then, we've been on this sake journey ever since. So, COVID happened like right after, of course, we started, but
ooh, lucky.
Yeah, super lucky. But in a lot of ways, like, we kind of got lucky. We did get lucky, because, we raised money before everything shut down.
Yeah. I want to hear about that, because a lot of people who are starting new businesses, they have a lot more time. There's a little bit of silver lining with this pandemic. And, that's a really tough thing, asking friends and family. It's
really tough. And, it feels awkward, I guess, in many ways to like put yourself out there to ask. Luckily a lot of people believed in Troy and I, and they wanted to invest. Yeah. But yeah, there's nothing,
vulnerability.
There's nothing like more humbling, honestly, than like a family member or friend giving you a check and saying, I believe in you and this idea to do it. So yeah, it's been a good run so far. There's things that we've done well and things that we definitely could have done better. We've learned a lot, but now we're trying to take sake to the next level. So
okay, so how did you come up with the label? How did you come up with the name? I have heard you talk about stories where you kind of do like a couple of questions for your poll, and seeing who knows what.
Yeah.
I want to know about that.
Yeah, so the reason why I guess everybody convinced us that starting a sake business was like a good, crazy idea was because we would ask people, and it was like 3 questions. So we would ask people, I've already asked them to you, I guess, but I guess we could just run it back. Okay. It's, are you familiar with sake? And you would say?
I would say I've drank it maybe once or twice.
Once or twice. Okay.
Said no
All
one.
right.
Said no one
Novice.
ever. No.
No. So
Yes.
you're familiar with sake. Do you like sake? Is the second question.
Yep, definitely.
And then our third question is, what's your favorite brand of sake?
Now, yes, I do know the answer to one of them because we've already talked about this. But to be perfectly honest with you, when I do go anywhere and I look at this menu and there's this, another language, Japanese something that probably has a ton of meaning and backs up whatever they represent, but you just can't remember, at least as an American who's not used to all this jargon. So the only one I know would be the other one.
So Troy would always say that, we just don't think the American consumer is ever gonna know sake the way that they know wine. They're never gonna know that like this is a Chardonnay versus a Sauv Blanc versus like a Cab grape, right? Like it's more foreign to them.
Right.
And in sake you have this beverage category that like everybody knows, that most people actually like, but then nobody can name a brand, or most people can't. That was kind of what we found in our research and conversations with people. So you have like a well-known but completely misunderstood beverage, and that's where we think the opportunity is. So to get back to the original question, why did we do this? We did it because everything we did, we're trying to be American. Like we're trying to, we're using American grown, actually California grown and sourced rice. Where
that's cool. Yeah.
So everything here is like local, sustainable, as best we can at least. And, basically like Sawtelle, there's a whole backstory that we'll probably get into, but on the can itself, it's bright colors, it's all in English, it's understandable. And we did it in cans because we also thought that would stand out a little different than the bottle. And also like this can, this pack here, is about 800 milliliters. So it's a little bigger than a bottle, but if you open a bottle of sake, it feels like a commitment to have to, drink the whole thing. Whereas like the can we think is pretty crushable. So
I like it. I love it. I almost feel like, I know this was a weird comparison, but the White Claws took the world by storm, and you have these easy little cans that you can just kind of pack in and take it on the road. And so
we have in this can, so this is 16% alcohol. So we're like double the strength of, this is like 2 White Claws and half the volume. So,
and much better for you.
Yeah. It's really, sake is a really clean spirit. It's 4 ingredients. It's water, rice, yeast, and then this thing that nobody really knows, but something called Koji. Secret. That is kind of our secret special. Well, it's in all sake, but that's what we think is kind of like what makes our sake unique.
And I've always called it sake, so now after this, I feel like it's just very impossible to still say sake when I know the difference. So sake, here we come.
Sake to me.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your partner, because you said originally when you were starting up some of the poke stores and brand that you wanted to partner up and make that special, but he had already been doing this.
He had already been doing this. So
he had this little mini brewing company in his backyard, or what was going on?
If only it could be that easy. It's not like buying like a Mr. Beer kit and you can make sake. So yeah, Troy was a portfolio manager before becoming a sake brewmaster, and he had done an experiment on a challenge actually from one of his former coworkers to make something that's it's a Korean kind of sake alternative called Makgeolli.
Okay.
Most people have definitely not heard of Makgeolli.
Is that kind of like a speakeasy kind of something, or
it's like
traditions passed down, or is this?
Yeah, well, so it's like a cruder version of sake.
Okay.
And so, but so the whole story is Troy's coworker was talking about how his grandma would make this drink, Makgeolli essentially, and how good it was. And Troy looked it up and was like, I think I can make this. And his coworker's like, there's no way you can make this, no chance, get out of here. And so Troy went home, and
I see a little competitive edge coming out.
Bit. Yeah, so he made it, and he took it to his coworker, and his coworker was like, She's like, crap, like this is better than my grandma's. And so
you're
Troy's like,
onto
oh, maybe
something.
I'm good at making this. So what Troy kind of realized is making Makgeolli was like the first few steps of that was like making Makgeolli was like making sake, at least. Like the first couple steps were the equivalent of the start of sake, and then you just had to like refine it from there. But it wasn't like there isn't sake brewing equipment lying around. So Troy basically like homebrew, like hacked how to come up with all this stuff. So we were making our Koji in a yogurt maker. He like cut out like this crazy little like wooden box that he would use as like his hot box incubator. We had like and then Troy would have these like little bottles of sake that we would try, and and then kind of doing a couple batches with Troy and all that, I just kind of fell in love with
it felt right. Yeah.
It
felt right. Okay, so now you guys are up and running. Who are your clients? And like now, which are, I don't know, I guess bringing in the orders. And is this where you want to be, or where are you going to take this?
Yeah, so I mean,
how are you leveling up?
How are we leveling up? So COVID threw us a couple curveballs, because when everything shut down, our original plan was to sell to like bars and restaurants. And then COVID happened and we're like, well, crap, like we probably need to figure out how to sell like DTC. So we were doing that. But then when everything started reopening again and looked like it was going to be fully reopened, we kind of shifted back to like bars and restaurants. So right now we're in, a handful of like bars and restaurants throughout LA, and it's not just
LA
like,
based?
Just LA based right now, because we don't have the production volume at this time. We're a little capacity constrained. So we're doing that right now. How we're trying to level up is we do actually have more demand for product than we can actually make, which is a good problem to have. But we need to make a lot more sake to really make this, a leveled up business. So we're raising money right now. We're trying to open like a full scale sake brewery. Right now the space we're looking at is on the west side. But do like a tasting room, have a whole sake tasting experience. And if we get that space, we think we can make enough sake to like fully penetrate like the LA market, SoCal, and then from there, if we have opportunities to expand, then we'll do that. But like our first mission is like we want to be LA's sake. And cool. Like, if we can be the brand of sake that like people in LA actually know, then we think we've got a good thing going.
Where are you guys now? Like, where could people try this?
So we're mostly on the west side right now. Actually, we're in a place right here on Fairfax called Yojimbo that just opened up, and that's a really cool concept. We're at the waterfront in Venice. We're at a couple places on Sawtelle Boulevard. So we had to do that.
You have to.
We're at a ghost kitchen, and what's actually been kind of cool about that is there's like 20 restaurants there, and so the sake pairings that we've been like having people try our sake with are things that like you would never typically
ghost
expect.
Kitchen. That's perfect.
It's been cool. Yeah,
if you can get into like a couple of those and have your product. For like you just said, there was 20 restaurants just for that one ghost kitchen. If you get a couple of those accounts,
or it's just like the cross promoting and stuff like that we can do is pretty cool. So like Troy had been telling me for a long time that his favorite pairing, like most people have like sushi with sake, and that's like what they've done.
Why not?
So
let's be all American.
So we had an event the other night with some potential investors, and I brought pepperoni pizza and hot fried chicken as like our pairings.
Okay, can you explain that? So this definitely has to do with what you're putting in with your ingredients that would pair with something like that.
Well, our sake, Troy would say that he tries to make sake that pairs really well with like American cuisine. But like the reason why, if we kind of like nerd out on the ingredients, is actually the Koji. So, Koji creates an enzyme that breaks down like starches, complex starches in rice into like, into a form where yeast is able to like eat a simple sugar and actually convert it to alcohol. So Koji breaks complex starches down into sugar. Sorry, I should have just said that much easier that way.
Right.
But
we're getting the long version.
But
today.
what you do though, yeah, sorry about that. But you do get like a lot of amino acids as well that kind of come from Koji, and so those amino acids actually pair really well with like fatty foods. So like our sake actually pairs like really, really well.
And this is just yours. This like would it be across the board?
A lot of sake would actually pair. Like sake has a very broad spectrum that people don't really understand. So you can have like very light floral sakes, and you can have like really like rich, heavy, earthy sakes. So there's sakes that pair really well with steak. There's sakes that pair really well with like salad. Like we think we're pretty well balanced, but it would surprise a lot of people.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't. I would think pizza more on the heavier side, and then kind of ruin my buzz a little bit, even like with like the carbohydrates. Not trying to be funny.
No. I mean, I don't know. I didn't notice the other night, but like seriously,
I didn't notice the other night. Okay, so you had a mighty fine time. All right, I'll take that.
It's a good night. If you did, okay, like if you had pepperoni pizza with our sake, you get like this sweetness out of like our sake that it tastes sweeter after you have a bite of pepperoni pizza. It sounds really crazy, but
kind of like salt on the dark chocolate kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of like that, I think. Yeah. Right. So, anyways,
what would you give, like some advice you'd give to people who are just starting out their business? Some of the things that I don't want to say trial and errors, but things that you've learned, things that have helped you with growth. Maybe like some blood, sweat, and tears, kind of something. Yeah. Because I mean, everyone has a service or a product. Everyone's wanting to connect right now, and we have been at a lower level of just being safe and figuring out how we're gonna come back from this crazy pandemic. But I mean, there's like we all have dreams, we all have thoughts on a daily basis. Like, what if I did this? What if I did that? Like, what about for you guys? I mean, like I said, you guys are so busy. All the time, personally, professionally, and now you're like, okay, let's do another business.
So, like, first advice would be like, try not to be that busy when you start something. But, but no, I mean, I think a lot of people have really great ideas, and it's just like, I mean, it is in that initial inertia just to get the ball rolling and to, figure out how to make it work and how to execute. For me, I guess I would say don't be afraid to ask for help, right? And to talk to people who
you mentioned that when you were getting funding and making sure you guys are secure in your life and what you've built, and still be able to make the right decisions to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And then, we were really lucky that we've had some really good advisors around us that have given us, good advice at each step of the way.
Experts.
Yeah.
Go with the experts in their industry. So many people think I can do it. It's fine. I have a friend who can do this.
We also kind of had like formed a partnership really early on with the distillery. So we make our sake in the distillery. We're co-located in a distillery up in Ventura Spirits. Go check them out. But,
Side promo.
They're really awesome at what they do.
Yeah.
And so when Troy was going from like the homebrewing phase to scaling up, they were there to help us and explain to us, what they thought we should do, how we should think through the equipment. So we were able to rely on
that. I feel like that goes more like having a mentor. Having a mentor is really huge, even for myself. I've only been in commercial real estate for, I don't even know, 7 years maybe, I think. And I mean, I'm still learning so much, and I still consider myself so green, but without having Rick by my side, to know that like he's been through this before, he can handle this, he can guide me to, okay, if this isn't working, take it over here. Having a mentor is really big. Having a network, having a mentor. Network and mentor, huge.
Network, mentor, and then like after having done this a couple of times now, like having the right team is like, is everything, right? So, having the right team, having the right, like, I do some coaching, and like it got broken down to me as like as simply as I could do it. Like a really Like
Break it down. I'm ready.
To go from like a good business to a great business, you need like 4 ingredients, right? You need to have like good strategic direction. You need to have a saga. So you need to have something that people are like going to buy into and get really excited about and want to follow. You need like a system of like rituals and beliefs that people are then going to, act on and like build the culture essentially. And then you need what like this guy called complex thinking, which is you need like strategic people, but you need execution operations people too. So if you can figure that out, if you can really like figure out who are going to
So the team, the team, you want to pay attention to all the personalities because you don't want 2 people doing the same thing or doing something that they're not good at.
Yeah. I mean, when you do a startup though, you're always kind of like doing a bit of everything, right? But like thinking through like who can do what on the team and having a little luck along the way never hurts either, I guess. So yeah.
And then I remember asking you, but I forgot the answer. Not sure if I did today or not. But can you heat this up?
I haven't tried actually.
Because this is not pasteurized, right?
So this is unpasteurized. So
unpasteurized.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could heat anything up and see how it tastes. We haven't tried it. There are certain
not recommended. Hasn't been tested.
Correct. I don't know. Actually, someone just asked us that yesterday.
I don't prefer hot sake. So I don't care for myself. But there are times like when you provided this alcohol for one of our party for the provisors meeting. Some people asked if they can heat it up, and I'm like, I think tonight we're just gonna have cold sake, or you can have whatever.
So it's funny because I think like the sake progression for Americans is they've had hot sake at a sushi restaurant, and it's like the cheapest thing on the menu. And like the reason why like is because if you heat it up, it masks like all of like the impurities in the flavor. So
and the impurities.
It's just like there's like if you have a sake that tastes like has a pretty harsh like alcohol finish or has some kind of like funky elements or a bite to it, heating it up makes like kind of like mellows those out. If it's a cold sake, it's kind of hard to hide.
Kind of like filters on Instagram, you can just like hide everything. And
exactly.
You just heat it. Okay.
Yeah. So hot sake is the filtered version of Instagram photos. Okay. So but most people are like, they do hot sake, then they do nigori sake, and then they're like, it's really refined having like nigori sake, and then maybe eventually they try some cold sake, some cold like clear sake, but there's like really dry sake, so it's too dry for some people, and then there's this whole like
spectrum. I don't know. I just learned on my last episode all about wines and like the actual like skin and the white and the red and like all this stuff, right? So now I'm hearing for this, it's all about the rice.
Yeah.
So, and maybe like
and the Koji.
Grandma's secret ingredient. But so what makes something more dry? What makes it like, why do you want it filtered, unfiltered? What are some of those qualities? Because I really don't understand.
So filtered or unfiltered is just a choice, right? So we're going to make a nigori sake because we do think that is where like the majority of the American market is right now. But then if we filter that out more, you lose some of like the sweetness potentially. So like if we just let a batch run its full ferment cycle and it eats up all of the residual sugar, it's going to be drier. So like less sugar, drier.
And this is
generally.
This is...
We ferment this to about 18%, 18 to 20%. And
so this is drier.
And then
sake?
It's a little dry. It's a little dry, but it's not super dry. I would say, well, I don't know. You can be the judge on your palate as well. So
I think it's dry for sure. I'm just trying to think about like the milkiness of like the difference between
that's all just a matter of like filtering.
Okay.
So
same taste, but maybe your brain just tells you, okay, it's not filtered, so maybe this tastes a little bit different.
Like some like depending on like the brewing method, like some sakes have like way more floral elements, some have way earthier elements, some have like some actual.
And what is this?
Ours is like light floral notes. Yeah. Okay.
I can handle light floral. I thought I didn't really like sweet. I like this. I think
this is not super sweet, right?
No. Not at all.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we have special ingredient.
Yep. I can tell you more about the special ingredient. It's actually, there's actually a lot of cool stuff about.
Okay,
Koji.
let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
So
Down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. So Koji is a mold spore. So it's actually like a mold that you inoculate onto rice, but you can inoculate it onto anything. So like more on that in a second, but we do it on rice, and then the mold actually bores into like the center of the rice kernel, and that's where it like creates enzymes essentially in that process.
So now we're in like probiotics and like.
Yeah. So actually, so sake actually does have probiotics. It's healthy.
Oh, I like that.
But yeah, especially if we don't go like super high on the alcohol ferment, then you would have more probiotics because higher alcohol content kills probiotics. So
it went from healthy to like mediocrity healthy.
We're like medium on this, and then like we can get
right.
Okay, I should actually just say we're super healthy, but yeah,
I know. Listen, we have water for hydration after, so we're good.
No, but so Koji does that for sake. It's what allows the yeast to actually convert the sugars into alcohol, and that's all happening in the same process in like the tank at one time. But like that same yeast, that same mold spore. Is like what they put on soybeans to make like soy sauce. Like it's what makes miso. It makes all of these other like Japanese products, which is why sake goes and pairs really well with all of those products.
Is that considered like the salty portion of?
It's like salt. It's like it's umami. Like Koji's like umami flavor. So
I'm learning.
But okay, you know the restaurant Noma in Copenhagen. So they just won like best restaurant in the world again. They use a ton of Koji in their food. Like they use it to like marinate steaks, like dry rubs on pork. Like you can use it for all of these other applications. You can use it in like desserts.
Should I be buying it for like my family? Because this is like
it's kind of crazy.
You're
actually.
Talking to like a borderline vegetarian vegan here. I need to know. Like
okay. So a bunch of like I think it's like growing in the chef community right now. Troy knows way more about Koji than me, but. And he makes our Koji, so we make all of our Koji ourselves. But we think that there's actually going to be a pretty big like cooking trend. There's some really great like Michelin star chefs here in LA that are using Koji in a lot of their ingredients to get just like different flavors than what you would typically get. And with those foods, like our sake theoretically should pair pretty well. So there's a whole like kind of cool other side of business. Oh, we didn't even talk about this yet.
Let's go.
Okay.
Get excited.
So
let's get weird.
So when we make sake, when we're done, we press it. We press it, and the juice that comes out is the sake that we're drinking today. What's left is like this pancake of like rice and yeast and other stuff that looks like let's call it like a rice like waffle pancake.
Do you slap like some fresh toro on that, or?
No, it doesn't. No, but like what we do is we actually like mill rice and then start a new fermentation batch. And we've been experimenting with this. So this is like a new thing that isn't out yet if you want to try it. But this is essentially like I should have said it. So this is a like distilled rice spirit. It's 86 proof. So this is
whoa. What does 86 proof mean? Doesn't that mean like death?
No, that's like it's like the strength of like vodka. But
what is this?
16%, so 32 proof.
Okay, I feel.
I'll do it a little bit. So
I just got nervous for a second.
Yeah, well, on the nose, like this thing's pretty.
On the nose.
It's basically like a straight umami bomb, is what people have kind of told us. But this is like another product that we're kind of experimenting with, and we'll see what happens.
I don't know why I swirled it. I felt like it was wine.
You can swirl it, yeah. It's all good.
Okay, so let's smell it. Whoa. This is serious.
We're not messing around. Yep.
Wait, what time is it?
So you got to do two.
What is this?
No, too fiery.
I feel like I'm in college right now.
So we've actually been talking to some different like mixologists, and they're like they're excited to use something like this in cocktails because it's like
this is beautiful. I'm actually going to a concert tonight. Can I sneak this in? Well, so would you, all right, I have so many questions. Okay, so would you treat this just plain, or would this be like an actual factor, like you said? It's the same proof as vodka or another clear liquor.
So we think this is like a more refined, like, I don't know, everyone knows soju, but this is called shochu, which is like a Japanese spirit. I know it's like crazy with the names and stuff, but I mean, we think.
Can we just name it like good juju or something? Just like
that would
keep it easy.
We could do that. Yeah. Okay, it's named. It has a new name now. We've been working on a name, so.
Juju. You need good juju to drink this.
Yeah, so we think we can potentially like have mixologists use this in cocktails. We think
this would be good with some like fresh ingredients, like muddled.
We also think we could do like canned line of like flavored, like naturally. So like, actual like fresh.
This could be like the new summer gin.
It's pretty good. Like I actually really like it. I almost say it's like a rice whiskey, but it's smoother than that.
Ooh, you know what? Yeah, you get that like warmth, the whiskey warmth.
So we're kind of excited about this. It's still not like a thing yet. Like our goal is like we want to be a great sake company, and then if these other things happen, we'll see.
You take your 4 ingredients.
Yep.
And now we're going to be sustainable, right? We're going to reuse what's left over, which is I'm going to call a Japanese latke, like a patty of some sort.
That is pretty much like spot on.
Okay, I'm following. Yeah. And then and now we're gonna have like mixology class. I think that might be like the next episode.
And then we can give all of like the waste to like for like animal feedstock and stuff like that, because it's basically just grain at that point.
So now we're composting. Yeah. See, this is healthy in so many ways.
We're trying.
Lessen the carbon footprint, which is always something I try to do. So after all this hardship, I've seen some videos of you like physically in with like the big tins and like moving stuff around on your Instagram. What's your Instagram again? It's
Sawtelle Sake.
Sawtelle Sake. And it's cool. Like you get to see like, the manufacturing part of things. Do you think that on this next run, like this, like, let's just say all your dreams come true. You have the funding, everyone's able to spend more time, allocate.
Yep.
Then what?
I mean, we're going to be
enjoying success, enjoying family.
That'd be nice. Yeah, no, definitely that.
Okay.
I don't know. Troy and I kind of have like this vision of where we want to take the business, and we think we can get to this next level. And like, we actually do call it like leveling up, like in a very weird way. Yeah. Cause like, going from,
that's why you're supposed to be here.
Yeah. So
I'm pushing you through the threshold. Get out of your way, level up. Let's go.
So, like, when Troy was homebrewing batches, to go from that to like a 50-gallon batch doesn't sound like a lot, but like it took a lot to level up to that. And then we got up to like,
level up. I love it.
90. Yeah. Cheers. We got up to like 90, 100-gallon batches. And then our next leap is we're going to try to do like a 350-gallon batch in the next probably like couple months. And then next would be we open this facility and we can make like 10, 15 times the sake that we're currently making. So it is like these like levels, and each one of them requires like a different set of tools or like process to kind of get there. So so after this next, when we open,
I like that, not if,
our brewery, our tasting room, and we're LA's sake. After that, then we'll have to kind of reevaluate like what's next. Do we need a much larger production facility? Do we get a really large like investor to come in to take it to the next level, or are we really happy with the business, where we're at, and we have a great thing going, but I think we have a couple years until we're there, so we're working toward it. Yeah,
I like that. And so for Troy, sorry that he couldn't join us today, but you guys are grinding and hustling and moving and figuring it out. You guys together, do you think that some of the other projects that you're in, that you're gonna kind of let those, organically grow on their own and just kind of focus on this one? Or do you think that you're always going to be that person who has that creative eye, who's able to see great ideas and kind of foster them and like help them from there? Because you mentioned like some coaching earlier and some things that, you know, you're going through for your own personal growth.
Yeah, that's a really like good question that I guess I'm now answering on air. Yeah,
you can always change it. This is just like evolving, you know?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I mean, it is all evolving, and like, you know, I'm trying to be more focused with my time. I'm trying to spend quality time with like my young family, right? And so
5-month-old, by the way.
Yeah, he's awesome. But yeah, you know, so we're working through, like, I'm working through that. Like, I know I can't take anything else on the plate, and I'm trying to lighten my load in a couple other areas so that I have more time to focus and you know, on growing Sawtelle Sake. There's one other idea too that I'm like kind of, you know, Sawtelle and that are kind of like my two.
Here it comes.
Babies. No, that's it. Those are like my things.
Introducing our new series.
Yeah, the next one we can talk about a fintech startup. So
there you go. It's been planted. The seed has been planted. Okay, let's see where it goes.
Yeah, but no, it's like what I've learned through all of this is like, yeah, you do need to focus. You do need to, you know, have a pretty good plan in place, and you can't be spread too thin. And so, yeah, I'm a perfect like prime example of like working through that and feeling the brunt of the pain.
I think myself included, I think we can all attest to that. You know, you get excited, you want to say yes, everything sounds great, you want everything to like matriculate like perfectly, and then you're like, oh well, I'm tired or overcommitted here. I shouldn't do this event or that, but I really need to do this one or do that one, kind of thing.
Or you're like, I'm not that busy with this one thing right now. So you take on a couple,
plan in the future for a couple of things.
And
then
you're like, yeah, like these things won't all be busy at the same time. And then everything is like max busy at the same time. And you're just like,
yeah. What about, so your sister, I know you work with your sister too. Mm-hmm. So is she kind of spearheading that aspect of the business while you figure out how you're going to be the jack of all trades?
So actually the other thing I should have said on the advice is like, the only reason why any of this is possible is because, yeah, I have really good teams, right? And like the teams that, you know, all of my teammates. Means everything. Yeah, I can, you know,
trust them, you can rely on them.
I can moonlight as like a sake brewery guy because I've got a great team, you know, to help out. So, yeah, that's the only way that it's remotely possible. So for sure.
Teamwork, for sure. All right. Well, anything else you'd like to add? What about, so you mentioned something about ultimately one of your goals is to have like a tasting. What would that tasting look like? So for me, I'm seeing this, which is great. Awesome. Amazing. I could drink this all night long. Then we have this. Not sure how long I could drink that before I'm on the floor. So what else is your vision? You're gonna do that, and maybe you pick up that poke kind of something going on here.
Like we think that down the road there could be some cool food pairings we can do with a sake tasting. But no, your questions are really good. When we're actually building out, we're planning on opening a tasting room in like the next 2 to 3 weeks. A mini one, like a kind of secret one, because
secret. I'll give you guys all the address later.
Yeah, we'll give you guys the password and stuff. Okay, to the site. So yeah, we're trying to do like initially like a pretty like, you know, a sake tasting experience is probably about 90 minutes, and then
but how many? Like, what are we doing?
So we're actually making I
need to know these kinds of things.
So we're gonna have this sake. We're probably gonna pull something from a current batch. When we have our Nagori sake, so our cloudy sake, we'll have that. And then we're actually making a Korean Makgeolli for another client. So we're kind of going back to like Troy's original roots, and I'm like half Korean, so, you know, why not? So we're going to do that. So we'll have people try that. We're going to have people try this fire water, and then we'll probably make some
Wait, what are we calling this again?
Good juju, I think you said.
No, you just said something else.
I said firewater.
Firewater.
Yeah. But you like that better than good juju?
No, because I think there's already like a brand.
Probably.
Firewater something, yeah. Or maybe that's ranch water. I don't know.
There is ranch water. That's actually a drink, though. That's like a tequila with...
Yes,
okay. Anyways, okay. So, and then we're going to probably use like some sake cocktails and let people do that. And I think...
Are you going to have pepperoni pizzas?
We're going to ask people if they want us to order in food for them and like do like weird pairings.
Because like I'm there. I will not be eating the pizza, but Ricky will eat the pizza and love it.
We can get people like slices and stuff. So yeah, we're actually figuring that all out. Or like
corporate events.
We're gonna do something fun. I'm doing like a tasting for like a birthday party for someone that is like a friend of a friend, like next Saturday. So we're gonna go out and do like a little tasting for them. But our tasting, I think if we do it the way we're planning it, it's like 4 to 5 drinks, which is a pretty good like 90-minute tasting. So so we'll see. But we really want to explain to people who we are, what our business is about, what how sake is brewed, and just how hopefully it's like a fun experience. They learn more about sake.
Yeah, locally grown, locally brewed. Great stories for backgrounds for people here.
Yeah, and then good luck from Los Angeles, our little logo and everything. So.
Before we go, I just want to know, all the hardships and all the sacrifices that are made more than willingly, and you get to taste small success here and there, and you get to celebrate a couple of wins. I want to know like your first one. Your first win with Sawtelle. Like the first time where you could actually just kind of smile from ear to ear and be like, "Oh man, this is what I'm talking about." Not that you're not going to have a million more, because like all the goals, like you're soaring, you have all your ducks lined up in a row, but there's that like something that like, I call it dharma, but that's in my like yoga, but that's like your your purpose. You like figured out, man, we're doing cool things.
I think there've been a lot of cool milestones in this. I mean, like raising our round and actually launching this business was definitely one of those moments. Yeah.
Uphill battle.
But, I guess I would say, maybe our first like retail account, going and sitting down and.
How big or small was that order, but still made you feel like on top of that mountain?
Well, I mean, yeah, like our first DTC order for 1 pack, which is 4 cans, was awesome. Right. But, I think our first retail order, did they order 72 units or like 96 units, whatever it was. It was a spot that we thought would be kind of like perfect, for our brand. And then they took a chance on us. They were like, we like the sake, but like, we think you guys can, we had them try a couple batches. They're like, we think it's going to keep getting better. And they put it on the menu, and,
people liked it.
Like the next like a week and a half later, they re-upped. And I think it was like the re-up that was like, wow, like people actually liked our product. They just reordered it. People were drinking sake at a beach cafe. Like it wasn't like a traditional kind of venue.
Right.
It's actually the waterfront in Venice. And so,
and I know, I know that place.
Yeah. And so, that was kind of when we were like, okay, it's almost like this validation of our crazy idea that, you can make sake mainstream. So, so that was pretty cool.
All right. Well, here we go. Cheers. So we already said for Instagram at Sawtelle. What about, I'm sure you have a website and all that kind of stuff. What is the best way to reach you?
The best way to reach us is probably on a DM.
Okay.
On our Instagram.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if any of like your friends, so our secret tasting room, it's not going to be like that secret.
A lot of secrets being revealed in this episode.
It just can't be open to the public, right? So it's going to be like through our friends and like their friends, and we just think like organically we can build.
This is an official invite, everyone. So we will have a official invite to a secret tasting room. So anyone who's watching this can slide into his DMs, not mine, but I guess if you need mine. And we will see you with pepperoni pizza and
They just have to reference your podcast. They have to say level up.
Oh yeah,
give me the password or something like that.
Password is level up. There you go. And yeah, catch you on the next episode. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers. Hey.